moment was, okay, we're gonna need to cut these AP checks,
Mm-hmm.
and like, okay, all right, but then that the whole printing out the check, but
Science at the end of the day, it's like, hey, it's an object model. Like, great. Like,
what are some of the core things will always be there from reality perspective, and we see the hype that be
big, giant, amazing things Workday's working on that other great companies are working on that I would just love to like speed it up if I could. Be like, boom, we can just make everything open today.
Hey everyone, we're here with the WorkTalk Series, and as you know, WorkTalk Series, we talk about business and technology and people.
And-
my name is Inderjit, and I'm very, very glad here today with me. I have Nick Morris.
What's up, Indy? Great to see you, man.
Hey, very, very nice to see you, Nick. And I've been trying to get a hold of Nick for some time, and finally we were able to make our schedule work to
Nick
sit
picked
down.
up the phone finally.
Yes, to sit down for a podcast, and I'm very excited about. So we will talk about Workday, of course, right?
Yes,
and
sounds good.
DevCon is coming up. We'll talk about DevCon, and then just chit chat.
I love it. Let's do it.
All right, cool. So Nick, why don't we start with the introduction,
Okay.
right? Why don't you tell our audience about yourself? Because I know we have a lot of audience. They may know Workday or may not know Workday, right?
Yeah, sure.
So give us a quick snippet.
Yeah, so my name's Nick. I do work at Workday. I feel like half my clothes say Workday now, so it's hard for me to forget. I famously like to say that I totally found Workday stuff by accident.
Okay.
I kind of stumbled into it. I was in college looking for a job. I was about to marry my high school sweetheart, searching the job boards, and then something developer. I was like, done. Texas, done. And then I get there, and they're like, yeah, it's for Workday integrations. I'm like, what the hell is Workday? Seriously, I had no idea. And they're like, well, we're going to fly you to Pleasanton. I'm like, where the hell's Pleasanton? And you got to do this HCM training. I'm like, HCM? What's that? They're like, oh, it's for an ERP. I'm like, ERP? What the hell's an ERP? Like, I really thought I was going to do data science. I was going to get a PhD in that. And then realized, oh, no, I don't want to go to grad school anymore. What do I do? And so I just knew I wanted to be a developer. And, you know, as the story goes, at Stanford at the time, computer science was taking off, like rocket ship territory. I don't know if any of you remember, but remember the days when you could make a Facebook game and become a millionaire?
Oh yeah.
That was the era. People were in computer science classes at Stanford where they'd be like, make a game for the class. And people were like, oh, I just made $1 million.
Yeah.
So that was the vibe. And so at the time I was like, I want to be a developer, but I like talking to people. What does that mean? And I think it honestly made consulting a really good fit for me.
Okay.
So it was really just a happy accident that I ended up doing integrations consulting here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area for let's call it a boutique Workday partner.
Workday partner. Okay.
That predictably got gobbled up by a large Workday partner, but met some amazing people. I got to meet you a couple years ago at DevCon. The rest is history, though. I ended up joining Workday 7 years ago, which I can't believe it's already been 7 years. And man, it's changed. I mean, you've seen it firsthand too.
Yeah, exactly. It's changed quite a bit. So let's even take a step back. Nick, Stanford, you mentioned. And those of you who don't know, Nick did go to Stanford, one of my favorite colleges.
Hey, cool.
In the world, right?
Yeah, I'm a fan.
And so tell our viewers a little bit behind the scene. How was the college experience and getting into the development or computer science?
Yeah, dude. Well, true story. I was like that. No way I'm ever getting into Stanford. I grew up in Southern California. My dad's family, no one had been to USC, but for some reason they were all rabid USC fans. I still don't really know why. My mom went to UCLA.
Okay.
So they always butted heads. Whoever wins the football game, their ornament, their USC or their UCLA ornament goes higher. On the Christmas tree. It was brutal. And so somehow, I get lucky enough to get into Stanford, which I'm still so thankful for. And so we all kind of switched teams, as it were, to being Stanford fans. But yeah, I mean, at the time, I remember being really, really interested in language and the brain, the mind, how you think about stuff. But then this computer science thing was blowing up. I remember going into a computer science class and honestly falling on my face, frankly. Like, I took too many classes. You don't know what you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And then the first class was just so overwhelming, and I had a hard time with it, honestly. I like barely passed. I was like, woof, that was rough. Let me pivot to the stuff I really like, which is linguistics. And so I did that because it had fewer units, and I really liked it. And then a separate quarter, because it's on the quarter system, just for fun. Hey, what if we only learned in 10-week increments? My brain doesn't do that very well. But we tried it again. The royal we.
Mm-hmm.
I tried it again with like way fewer classes and kind of studied up ahead of time. And that time I got like an A, like very high A in the class.
Awesome.
And like started to love it. Like I was like, okay, I feel like I finally get it. It's just there's some weird stuff. Like no one in school before that had taught me the idea of like I know what a variable is in math, but the whole like you can assign and reassign variables and like functions. I could do the math great, but then like translating that to like Java, or like at the time Stanford taught out of this like funky cute version of Java, which I'm glad. I think they switched to Python. Like it's just how can you know unless you've done it? And so I frankly think that has taught me a great deal of humility around technological things. Like you can only learn what you almost know, otherwise you're throwing crap at your brain.
Yeah.
Someone in this Stanford phonetics lab, really formative mentor of mine, told me that one time, and it just hit me like a truck. It's like, of course. Like, you can't just be like, I'm going to throw myself into something that's I don't have enough context for, and it's just going to click. Like, that's not how that works. And honestly, that's what I did the first time I tried computer science.
Okay.
Was I threw crap at my brain.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I did it right and kind of like built up the knowledge, built up the skills, made friends who I knew were into it, and they were very gracious, even though they were like on their 17th class, to be like, wow, Nick's really struggling with this like basic thing. But like, then you watch yourself level up, right? And you can do the next class and the next class. And then my favorite part was getting to apply that knowledge. So like by the time I was like for sure going to grad school, you're doing like research projects. And I honestly feel like whenever the work is about something you care about, so much different. Like whether it's programming, statistics, like it was about data analysis for my project. And that just made me care more. That made it click. It was less abstract. I feel like that's like such a huge thing with teaching that I think about all the time, especially in DevRel now, is like, how do you make this real for people? Like if it's too abstract, who gives a crap?
Exactly.
You know, how are you supposed to learn that way? So all that to say, I learned a ton at Stanford, and most of it was learning how not to learn and learning more about myself and what I value. And I've just been really thrilled to end up in a space where I can create space for people who kind of don't feel like, frankly, I think you just had a few minutes ago before we started, that you're not a developer. And it's like, I definitely have felt that. I think you count, man. Like that's our whole job is to build a big enough tent for all the people that know their shit. Yeah. That like maybe they've been called not a developer, or maybe they've been put in a box. And it's like, actually, especially with like the tooling that exists now, you are super dangerous, you know? Yeah. If you know the fundamentals and now we're just making it easier for you to do the technical mumbo jumbo, like look out, like Indy's coming.
No, definitely. So one of the coolest things, maybe we'll check how accurate the AI is.
Yeah, sure.
So based on my research before this podcast, of course I use AI.
So fancy.
And Nick has a background in master in psychology and linguistics.
I do. Good job, AI.
So, that is correct. Then I gotta get props to AI.
Yeah.
So this is very fascinating to me, Nick, because I try to see how this role, the leadership role in the developer relationship world, how this connects. And everybody have connected. Honestly, at the DevCon, other events, they had great things to say, like connecting with people, right? Like I know technology is there. You talked about I'm a functional guy coming from accounting background. I'll give you a little bit background about myself. How Workday, I stumbled upon Workday. So I was out of college, out of UTD. Yeah. I went to do corporate accounting for, you remember Sears?
Yeah.
So we used to manufacture in a factory Sears product.
Nice.
Back in the days. And I was doing corporate accounting for those. And I used to literally take a paper and walk around in the factory to get sign off on some of the spend that we I think this should be approved. Who approved it? Because we didn't have a PO for it, right? Those type of things. But then I looked at Workday. I was like, business process, man, this is like magic.
Whoa.
Oh, you got a notification, you go in the system, you approve it.
Yeah.
So, really like the architect, everything that the process Workday made it easier. But no, going back to your major at Stanford, and I watched a lot of podcasts or the videos from the Stanford. That the culture there, I think, is very fascinating, right?
Yeah.
So tell me your hello world moment. Like, we all have done it. You said, oh, functional people are not able to do it, but nowadays, I think with these Meta glasses, the other day, I wrote a code in 10 minutes, deployed an app within there. And I was like, wow, this is magic. So tell me about your hello world moment with Workday.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, overall, like I said, the first time I tried computer science, it was rough, and I felt like I was barely getting by. But I will say, when it started to click, it was I'm doing this like let me back up. Like, I really like understanding things deeply, and I think that I really struggled with that with computer science, especially as it was like 10 or 15 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I still, and listeners, like, feel free to like tell me how it actually works. I still think it's all kind of magic that like there's tiny little electrical impulses that are like on or not, and then all of a sudden we have a terminal. Like, how the hell do we get from like electricity on these tiny little chips to like a terminal you can type into? Like, I still feel like, yes, with Claude and all these things, it feels like this magical oracle. But like, was the terminal not always kind of a magical oracle where you have like these computer chips and now you can just type to them? Like, that still blows my mind. But where I'm going with that is that, I mean, for me, honestly, like, I don't know about you, when I was first helping my parents, they're going to be like, oh my God, you're dragging us. But no, but like, I mean, I remember when Microsoft Word, you would lose work, if it just looked at you wrong, or you accidentally bump the computer and it turns off and you lose everything and you have to like reset
or start
everything.
updating.
Yeah. So like, technology has only gotten easier. I feel like I was forged in the fires of the 90s and the early 2000s of technology just not caring about you, and you just found a way to make it work. My whole life, it has only been magical and amazing. Like, watching it go from like a green computer screen with like Oregon Trail era stuff on it to, oh my God, we can have like this screen in our pockets that can do things. So there's like a lot of hello world my whole life, really, and it keeps leveling up in these wild ways. And I have a 9-year-old, I mentioned, 9, 7, and 5, and seeing them like just take some of this for granted is crazy. I vibe coded an app for my son because he wanted to have his own version of the Olympics.
Yeah. And
I chose not to have him do the vibe coding, but to show him the JavaScript.
Right.
And like, he is like, dude, this is not direct quote, obviously. It's like, Dad, these are in the wrong order. I want to reorder these things. And so just having to walk through, okay, here's the like element. We gotta like copy, paste it, delete it, but don't do anything else. Like, and then paste it here. Now fix your commas. And I'm watching his brain just go. And he's into trains, he's into roller coasters, he's into engineering, he's into building things. And seeing it click for him that like, oh, this is just like that. Like, I changed these words and then saved, and boom. Like, that was his hello world moment. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So I very much feel the same. And there's certainly been plenty of times where I'm like, I can log, I'm in the loop, or I'm not in the loop anymore, or this is true, this is false. And just seeing those things come back in the console is just like the best. It's the best feeling.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I know where I am. I'm very grounded. And really, like, all the problems you solve, even if they're way more complex, I think come down to that same feeling.
Awesome. Okay, now we're gonna switch some gears and go to Workday ecosystem, right?
Sure, yeah.
Let's talk about. I know you had mentioned before stage and the actors, right? Without the developers, the ecosystem or the platform is nothing. So tell us more about that. Why Workday developers are so important for the ecosystem to grow?
Yeah, obviously I feel very strongly about this as a Workday developer, and I think you and I were coming up at similar times. I remember when it's like, hey, we're integration consultants, or there's like an integration developer, or there's a whole team in India. There's integration architects, and we would wait until we would be really involved at the beginning of a project with requirements gathering, because you're trying to poke at with the customer, like, is this really all the systems you need to talk to Workday? And if you ask the right questions, be like, oh, well, there is this one.
Yeah.
Like, boom. Okay, how do we need to get that to talk to Workday? Because otherwise it doesn't work, So, like, you talk to them there, and then at the very end, when all the financial stuff's in, all the, what's it called? The foundational data model stuff. I don't know if they've rebranded it now.
Yeah.
Like, once that's in and we have data, now we can actually go to work. I mean, Workday doesn't work without Workday developers. Our friend Joe Lee will usually joke in front of crowds like, hey, for whom does Workday work right out of the box perfectly for everybody? Knowing that no one's going to raise their hand, right? It needs to talk to other systems to be alive and meaningful. You need to be able to customize it for it to be alive and meaningful, and that's all Workday developers. 75 million people use Workday. So, like, if we have a better experience, that's a huge impact. If we can make life even a little bit better for 75 million people, that is totally worth it. And, frankly, I would say that for configurators, if you consider yourself that still too, or like I know you have that background, like if you make the financials work versus not working, that's a huge impact too. So I don't know. I think for me, it's just we should be celebrating the craftsmen, the folks that really know their stuff, or they are committed to just making things work even a little bit better for customers, for users. I applaud you, and I want our developer program to be welcoming to you.
Very nice. And you mentioned, so that reminds me, because I was listening to the podcast you did with Joe a couple of days ago, his moment when employees or workers needs to get paid.
Yeah.
And I remember my hello world moment was, okay, we're gonna need to cut these AP checks. And like, okay, all right. But then that the whole printing out the check, the BERT layout was on me to develop. And then I got the layout from the customer. Went on Sunday to the office. I made sure with the micker tape everything is lined up, and we okay, go print and present it to the bank. And they were like, okay, I can do some integration stuff.
The best feeling, dude, when you're like, I tweaked some stuff in Workday Studio. Someone on the other side of the country, the other side of the world, has printed it out on their printer and had to mail it to a bank. And the bank verified this is money now. That's also kind of magic, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like I moved this thing over a millimeter, and this payment is either a piece of paper or it's money based on that tiny shift. I don't know. I love that feeling, and also really anything with payroll, where you're like, I checked a box, and now people got paid successfully.
Yeah.
Like it's also a great hello world feeling.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. So, for talking about the developers, Nick, how do you see that as, because a lot of times coming from the accounting world, we look at numbers, right? And either a revenue or a spend. How do you communicate the ROI for developers? Because there are two ways to look at it. Either we can look at it as a revenue generating, a profit center, or a spend. Right? Like if you're talking to stakeholders or even internally a customer, they want to mention, hey, we need developers to do this thing with AI now with Workday because it'll make process a lot easier. Shed some light on that. How do you see that?
Yeah, I mean, it's complex, right? Because from Workday's vantage point, I think we understand the value of a developer ecosystem, but at the same time, it's like a long play, and there's like second and third order effects to what Workday does to enable the developer community, because if we nurture the developer community writ large, that means that customers will have the people available to hire to do the work. They will know what they need to know. They will not be hamstrung. Like, they will have access to tooling, access to documentation, access to environments where they can actually like build and test things themselves. But Workday doesn't immediately get that benefit. So that's like the challenge. And it's not that we don't have true believers. We have true believers at Workday right now. Like all the way up the leadership chain, they are nerds. I say that in the best way. They come from very mature platform backgrounds. They get it. They are developers. But to say, hey, we need to spend money to do this conference or to do these enablements or to build this infrastructure to enable a community of builders to have what they need. It's like, we will see the rewards hugely, but it takes real people that aren't us to buy into that, to go into the world, to become partners, to become customer developers, to then provide the services,
Mhm.
you know, and to level up and to bet their career on it. So it's a huge investment is honestly how I would pitch it. And that's just my super short version. But you're right. I mean, there is spend to that, but you're enabling an economy to happen
In the long run.
that wouldn't happen otherwise.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. And so one of the things that I want to discuss with you is overall the platform, right?
Yeah, yeah.
We've seen Workday ecosystem being a closed ecosystem,
Yeah.
and we hear that a lot. Do you think that like it's a roadblock for the innovation to happen compared to other peers that we have in the cloud space?
I mean, I honestly think you have seen that it has been a roadblock. I mean, there are some really good things that have come from it being such a tight-knit community, right? There is assurance that, like, everyone's coming from a common path, a very narrow path to get into it. But, like, I had to stumble into the ecosystem to become a Workday developer, right? A partner said, hey, we have these, like, roles for college graduates. They sponsored my my training, my certification. They're sponsoring, you know, H-1B visas for a lot of my best friends.
Yeah.
Like, there weren't easy ways to get into it. But that does put a cap on the total size of that ecosystem and then the total size of that economy that you're making. And frankly, I think it's plain as day to look at some of Workday's competitors, frankly, that have had a much more open mindset. They started from way behind Workday, and now their ecosystem is much bigger.
Yeah.
And that ends up mattering at scale. If someone's ecosystem is 10 times bigger than yours, even if their customer base is the same size, like I wrote about this on the Workday blog, but like if there's a competition like that, the folks with the richer ecosystem usually win. It's the reason I have an iPhone in my pocket and not a Windows phone, you know? Like, so yeah, I do think it matters in that way. But I do think you're going to see more and more and more, and we'll talk about it at DevCon and especially at Rising, that we are taking huge steps toward opening up.
Okay.
It's just it's a hugely different posture, right? Workday's been like, hey, we've got our ecosystem, our walled garden, but it's a gorgeous walled garden. It's very well tended. You know, like once you're in, you're in. But that model is just not scaling anymore.
Yeah. So I mean, to that thought process, like going back when we look at Workday, we're managing the two critical pieces of business, money and people.
Yep.
Right? So you want to make sure there are proper guardrails
Yes.
around that from regulations perspective and everything. So I can definitely see how we want to make sure that we are not protecting ourselves, also our customers in that thing. I'm saying we, but Workday.
Yeah, I got you.
So how do you see that, like at the from the developer's perspective, right? The pace you have to grow at the same time you have these guardrails because you're mission critical data you're housing for people and money.
Yeah.
And
yeah, no, it's a good question. I'm going to read into it because I can't help it. But like, I remember, you know, Workday's posture back in the day, and you probably remember this too. I mean, have you been through a delivery assurance review?
Yes.
Like if someone tells you DA review, does like the hair on the back of your neck start to go up?
Yeah.
You know, like
remember those days.
Yeah. We used to resource, and I think this worked at a different scale, like very heavy vetting, almost like, reminds me of almost like bank regulation. Like there is really, we are going to ensure that it can't go wrong. And it's not that we don't ensure that anymore. It's just that like that only works at a certain scale.
Right.
We can't just have bajillions of reviewers. Although I do think that there are some exciting things coming with like agentic tooling and other AI tooling that can at least help audit or flag this configuration's wonky, or this isn't hitting the mark on what the requirements were to what things need to be. I also will say that I think a huge shift you've seen in the ecosystem, and I'm speaking as a former partner, you're a former partner as well, like partners don't have quite the same chokehold on the technical expertise. You know, back in the day, this is like a decade ago, I remember like we couldn't publish certain technical information on Community because it was too technical for customers.
Right.
Like that is long gone. Like that point of view died. But that was a very real like era for Workday. It's like, I don't know if the customers are allowed to know this. It's like, dude, this is their system. You know, like this is their data. This is their system. They have really smart people in-house to do this. And so what I celebrate is that we have welcomed customer developers fully into the fold. I remember like 2019, I think, was the first hackathon where customers could hack too.
Mm-hmm.
I remember working with folks from Netflix there and just
Right.
like geeking out, like, oh, these guys helped make Netflix go, you know,
Yeah.
and I'm helping them with their Graph API call, you know. But all that to say, if you don't have to go through this narrow path, through this very narrow delivery assurance process, but now you have customer developers who are part of the ecosystem, heavily engaged, they've worked with DevRel, they've worked with all of our resources. If our resources are public, and hello, you can Google, how do I do this? You have things like deployment agent coming and other good things coming that will make it easier for you to build and audit and test and validate. And you have a richer community that can all share publicly, and you can say, is this right? I don't know about this configuration. And then people can help you. That's great. Like,
Yeah.
there are some things, I'm not saying it's like crowdsourcing, but you get some really cool effects at scale that we're going to have to go all out for you to see the benefits of that. So I think that empowerment of customers, empowerment of developers, and creating an ecosystem for them to share with each other is going to help keep all those things in line.
That is awesome to hear. So, yeah, a lot of times people get scared, right? Like, hey, this is technical, this is functional, but I think the lines are blurring now, where we can have more innovation happening, more people coming in.
Yeah.
I'll give you my example. I'm a big cricket fan, right?
Nice.
And I was on the go with my kids playing around, but I wanted to watch the game as well at the same time. So what I did, I actually on the fly, I created a web app for my glasses.
Oh my gosh.
There's the IPL going on. I was like, I can have
No
scores
way.
in front of me while I'm walking around. Like, okay, there was
What?
a need.
That's
There was a
amazing.
need to do that, and
Yeah.
so those type of things, I think we will see more and more. Like,
Yeah.
I know I don't want you to spill the beans for for the DevCon,
Yeah.
but one thing we can share, the big announcement yesterday, I was very excited about. For the service management from Sana agents.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be a game changer. We'll talk more about that. But before that, let's switch gears to AI.
Sure.
I know we cannot have a podcast with talking about that AI, right?
It came
So
up.
you coming in from a technical background, everybody's vibe coding and doing those things. Compare the hype versus reality. So what do you have to say about, like, because every day things are changing, right? Every week, every day, like you hear this, you can do this or that.
Yeah.
What are some of the core things will always be there from reality perspective, and we see the hype that maybe is scaring the graduates who are coming out of college, or even the enterprises, they're feared they will be left behind.
Yeah.
So what do you have to say about that, like, since you see all the developer community?
Yeah, I mean, hey, like, to make it very real, I remember a year ago before DevCon 2025, kind of having this like existential moment of like, I am shepherding a developer community, and like, are we gonna need developers? Like, I felt that question myself, and I had to really like try that idea on and wrestle with it, and come to the conclusion that the answer is emphatically yes, you are. It's just that the tools they have gotten much more powerful. You know, my like silly analogy I love to use, and I'm staring at this beautiful table right now, is that I do woodworking.
Okay.
And like back in the day, man, you could do it all with chisels, you can do it all with hand planes, and you can get a result just like this. And it may have taken more man hours, person hours, more hand planes to do that, more passes, but then we had planers that could get it just as flat. Now you have CNCs where you don't even have to be pressing the button. You can go and do something else, and it will get it perfect. There's still plenty of passes. It's just that the capacity, that throughput of how much work is done is less per person. But it doesn't mean you need less people. It's like, oh, now people are going to want more tables because each person can make more. So I think you absolutely need humans. You absolutely need developers. You absolutely need that judgment. In particular, I mean, my mind flashes back to that picture I painted of the requirements gathering exercise.
Yeah.
Where, like, even if you have an AI system that's saying, here's what Workday needs to do to talk to these other things, you got to be able to ask the right questions and really go, okay, but how did that system get that information? Like, that's just stuff you need to live to be able to spot, oh, there's a flag going up. How did they get the data there? And then sure enough, oh, there's this other system we forgot to tell you about. You know, I mean, and I think part of that comes down to like the fact that people are imperfect. Like you told me this podcast was here and I still went to the wrong place by accident. Like that's so true. That's just the way brains work. Like
we're humans.
If we're working with humans, we're going to need, humans like working with humans. They want to work with humans. They need to work with humans. And we need to cultivate in developers that sense of taste, if you will, and architecture and craftsmanship to say, yep, we are building the right thing. It is right-sized. It is the right scope. It's going to fit. And if it doesn't, I know how to whip out the hand plane or my other machine and make it fit. Because AI will get you way closer in some senses, but you also need to be able to spot critically, this did it with twice as much code as it needed to, or it's not going to be as fast as it needs to be. And that's something that's, because at the end of the day, it's for people. People need to be able to audit that.
Exactly.
And I frankly think that developers, they want to be hands-on. So that's kind of the other funny thing is like, yes, developers will learn faster through AI. It lowers some barriers. But I do think there are some things you only really learn by having to fix it yourself. And debug it yourself. To stare at it. I mean, I remember there was a Python script I wrote in college, and this is embarrassing, but like I spent a whole Saturday trying to figure out why it wasn't working, and I never invoked the main method at the end. Like something else about it was like well formatted, but the way I wrote it, it didn't, the linter or whatever didn't scream at me, hey moron, you didn't call the thing. But like, I'm never going to make that mistake again. You know what I mean? So all this to say, because we're working with people, you're going to need people in order to build those things. And if anything, I think we're going to be able to count even more people as developers, because if you have a rich understanding of Workday financials, look out. Like now we're going to make it even easier for you to build agentic apps, to build orchestrations, to build the things that help you plug in. Like I have a deep understanding of what this system needs, what that system needs, and why. Now we're making it easier. Have you followed the, just out of curiosity, the Claude Code hackathons?
No, I have not a whole lot.
So I have read about them, right? So this is not firsthand, but like I find it very interesting that the top prizes have gone to people with deep expertise in certain fields.
Oh,
it's like a lawyer, a doctor, someone who like really knows the problem they're trying to solve. They just never had the tool set to solve it themselves using like software. But now that they can just write the software and they know if it's wrong or not, dude, set them loose on the problem that's been bothering them for years, empower them, and they can do really amazing things. So I think of all the folks like you who have deep understanding of Workday and have worked with customers for a long time. Like if we make it easier for you to code, to build apps, to build integrations, like now you're a developer too. And I think that's a beautiful thing.
No, definitely. AI is a big enabler, and I cannot agree with you more that like once you know the business and you can apply the innovation, how you can make things, and then people want to make an impact wherever they work, and they want to make changes. So talking about DevCon, I don't want you to reveal a lot of things, and some folks might be still on the fence for going click to DevCon, but give us some preview. What people, I know the big theme this year is going agentic.
Yes.
And so give us a preview.
So first off, good news, digital registration is free.
Okay.
So everyone should register digitally. We already hit our numbers of digital registration from last year, and we still got a couple weeks yet to go.
Awesome.
So I think we can totally blow that out of the water. And we'll be live streaming the keynote and other good stuff, I believe, on YouTube. And forgive me, social media team, if I'm wrong. But like, this is going to be public information. So you'll want to tune in a couple weeks to get all the nitty gritty. But the short version is that we have some seriously amazing agentic tooling that will help you build faster, build things better, and like show you that Workday Build, which is our developer platform, is ready for this agentic moment that we're in. And so you'll have to see it to believe it.
All right.
You're going to see it in the keynote. You'll get to be hands-on with it if you're there in person. We even have some exercises we're cooking up for you if you're digital, which I think is like really, really cool.
Cool.
But yeah, that's the whole thing.
Awesome. Very good. So we talked about open ecosystem before, and how would, say, this agentic shift will help customers or partners or broader ecosystem to be more productive in the Workday world?
Yeah, great question. So I actually think these two things amplify each other. The whole like, hey, I may not like have a traditional Workday background. I'm really interested in this, and also we have agentic tooling to make it easier to build, because more and more and more people have like a cozy spot where they like building. Like maybe you like building in VS Code. Maybe you just like building in Cloud Code, which has become my thing. I feel like I'm so basic. I don't care. Like I am what I am.
Yeah.
But, like less and less and less are we going to be asking you to like forfeit where you really like building and go to our walled garden and then go to another walled garden and then to another walled garden to try and get like a cute facsimile of how you like to build. It's like, no. We want to meet you where you're at. We want to meet you where you're at, where you like building, and you're going to see that Workday Build is ready for you where you are.
Very nice. Okay, we're looking forward to that. And now, switching gears and looking at the big picture.
Yeah.
Where do you see from overall, because I think you look after the very critical piece of developer relation. A lot of innovation happens from the community, right? From that ecosystem. In the big picture, where do you see Workday going? And also looking at the AI shift, that big wave coming at us. So tell us more about that.
Yeah, I mean, you've seen it from Garrett and even from Anil coming back. You know, Anil will talk to us about this as a refounding moment for Workday. And I think he means it. Like, we are in a new wave of things where to serve our customers best, like, we need to be more open. We need to be more friendly to other systems. We need to be ready for this agentic moment. You know, and our customers want it and they deserve it too. So I think you're going to see us being more open, more friendly to agentic systems.
Okay.
And just faster.
Yeah.
You know, there are so many ways that Workday has had to build internally in a very rigid way. And in the best way, we are finally finding ways to pivot more quickly and meet our customers where they actually are. And I think part of that is because the tooling has just changed so much in the last couple of years. You know, there's accelerants on our own engineering with AI-assisted development. And then just the vibe of everything has shifted.
Yeah.
Right? The mood has shifted dramatically in the last couple of years to where, like, hey, Workday's got to innovate here, or another system's gonna innovate. You know, and so I am happy to see, at least from my POV where I am in Workday, that we are certainly rising to the occasion and doing that innovation.
Oh, very good to hear that. Yeah, I mean, especially when we look at Workday, the amount of data, with the structured data we have, that is very impressive.
Yeah.
And the AI was coming, I was like, man, so we're looking forward to DevCon and Rising, big announcements.
Yes.
Now, I know there's a lot of talk about AI and a lot of uncertainty with the student community. I was at an event yesterday, a lot of local, by the way, we're sitting in Dallas, from UT Dallas, go T-Mox. And some of the graduates who are graduating very, very soon, they were worried. Right? Like what would happen? So if you were talking to a graduate, a computer science graduate, or they're thinking about being a developer, what do you have to say to them?
Yeah, I hear you. First of all, I remember that feeling of being like totally unsure. Like, I mean, I remember like was it Web 2.0 at this point? Like everything was changing. You know, like they're trying to teach us as fast as they could what your job was about to need, and that was hard. Like, it's even harder now. So I think my advice, as always, is to stay curious and to lead with curiosity. It's okay to not get it right at the beginning either. Like, if you pursue something, you're like, I have no interest in doing this. Like, if you have the privilege and the means to chase something else, you should. You absolutely should, especially when you're early on in your career. Like, do what is fulfilling to you.
Right.
Life is short. And then as far as like career security goes, like honestly, like I know no one like wakes up and they're like, man, I really hope to be a B2B software developer. But it is good work. It is very lucrative, and it's very stable. Like, this is something I was actually privileged to talk about with our CTO, Gabe Monroy, on DevTalk a couple months ago, of like, hey, like some software jobs, like cool, you're optimizing ad spend But then if that company changes their API, like your whole business dies, or like Anthropic just eats your your niche,
Yeah.
because they're just gonna have Claude do it.
Yeah.
But with this, like, I can't imagine something more like conservative from like a business spend perspective than their core data. So like to me, I really value the fact that like being able to help safeguard that critical infrastructure for a business, their people and money data, it's a very stable line of work. You know what I mean? And frankly, like, I think it matters. I care a lot about people. I am not on the Workday comms team, but I always love thinking about how Workday, like ERP sounds so cold to me, but like it's software for people, like at the end of the day. And I think if we embrace that a little bit more, that like, hey, every person using this should have a great experience, like, that's awesome. And obviously we know people aren't going to Workday to have fun. They're going there to view their paycheck, to finish their performance review thing or whatever, to do an expense report. If we can make those things delightful and get out of the way, I think that's a big win for everybody. So all I'm saying is that it is fulfilling work. I do love the community as well. Like, I think that there is a joy here that is not in other communities. And I personally enjoy the fact that, like culturally, I just don't feel like Workday's an evil place. I feel like there are some tech companies where you're like, are you a Batman villain? Like, what happened? Like, if you've ever met Anil, like, I've not met him in person yet. It's on my bingo card. But, like, the dude wears Crocs and is joyful. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, There's just a purity to that still. So all I'm saying is, like, be curious, get skilled up, and we're going to make it even easier for folks to get certified and to take, like, Workday, like, courses, if you will, before even they've graduated. Like, that's just a great thing to have under your belt.
No,
like,
definitely.
to be like, I'm certified and ready to go. You shouldn't have to stumble into it anymore. And even if you're like, look, like my bread and butter is going to be working with Salesforce and ServiceNow, having the Workday expertise too, like, makes you like a triple threat.
Yeah.
So that's what I would say. Is it should be a win-win for you no matter what, to embrace this ecosystem.
In my opinion, I think it starts with people, right? We talk about humans, and when you go to the system of record for human, that's where everything starts. So, very good. And you talked about Workday. I can vouch for that. Before I go to my next question, I started back in 2013. And I see Workday as my favorite band.
2015.
Yeah. So. The whole, it's like a family, big family. That event where DevCon we're talking about, like, the company really cares for their customers and the employees. I can vouch for that. And for the people who are graduating college, we talked about, right? So what's your advice on? I know they may not be working for a partner right away or a customer. What can they learn? How they can get acquainted with the skills that might require down the road for them in their career?
So more good stuff to come soon, but for sure we're publishing more and more things directly on YouTube. You're going to see more and more directly on GitHub as well.
All right.
And with these new agentic tools that we'll be talking about at DevCon, like, anyone should be able to look up how to do something, be able to download tooling that helps them build it, and get hands-on with it right away, so they can, like, get actual hands-on understanding of how Workday works. And, like, I would love for people to meet Logan McNeil a lot younger in life, and get a sense of, like, I mean, it's not rocket science at the end of the day. It's like, hey, it's an object model. Like, great. Like, my brief experience with Java was more than enough to be like, I see what's going on here. You know what I mean? And so I think we're lowering the bar technically with the jargon and calc fields and all those kinds of things. And the easier that gets and the more open it gets, I think that people have lots of opportunities to meet Logan, to get hands-on with it, and to get certified.
Oh, very nice. Okay, that's looking forward to that. So towards the end, Nick, if you had a magic wand, what are some of the things you want to happen?
Just in general, in the world?
The Workday developer relationship, the ecosystem. Or maybe you can talk about in the world too.
I mean, like, honestly, I think I would. Man, that's a good question. It's a good question. Magic wand for me is, I know that there are some big, giant, amazing things Workday's working on that other great companies are working on that I would just love to, like, speed it up if I could. be like, boom, we can just make everything open today, and it's going to be secure, and it's going to work, and the money works. Like, that's going to happen, but it just takes time to do those good things. Yeah, I think if I had a magic wand, it's probably that. Like, just to be able to open up tomorrow would just make me so happy.
Okay.
But I know that we're doing the work.
Okay,
you know?
very nice. All right, really appreciate you joining us,
It's been a pleasure.
Nick, and sitting with me in this podcast. And what is the last, towards the end, what the message you have for our audience, or the viewers, or the listeners?
Yeah. If something's hard, that usually means it's worth doing.
Yeah.
And I really want to come back to that, like, you can only learn what you almost know thing. Like, I have learned so many things that I just had to try again, but, like, go a little bit slower. There's no shame in that.
Yeah.
Another dumb anecdote is that I basically did the equivalent of, and I love math, but I did, like, calculus 1 and 2, the equivalent of that in the U.S., like, 3 times. And it's not because I'm dumb, but it's because, like, I didn't have great teachers the first 2 times, too. So I feel like there's just something to that. It's like, it's okay to do something over again.
Yeah.
It's okay to go at your own pace, go slower. And sometimes even if you are ready to learn something and you don't have the right teacher, like, maybe it's not you that's broken. You know what I mean? And I just wish that I had learned that a lot sooner in life. So I know that's, like, super, like, vague at the end.
No, that's
but
very
I think
critical.
it's like, if I could have my kids just, like, know that now, that it's okay to fail, it's okay to try again, it's okay to go slow. Sometimes you don't have a great teacher and it's not you. Like, the world would be a better place.
No, definitely. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Yeah.
Learning, I completely agree. Learning is part of day to day.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah, every day.
Just try to be better than yesterday.
Every day's a school day.
Thank you for joining us today in this WorkTalk series. Again, my name is Inderjit. I go by Indy, and Nick Moores from Workday Relationships.
Yeah.
Developer Relationships. And thank you for joining.
Yeah, thank you, Andy. It's been a pleasure, man.
Thank you.